Hi everyone, welcome to Copenhagen Fashion Week Spring Summer 22 edition live Q&A. My name is Lefons. I am Document Journal's fashion and market editor, and I will be joined by designer Louise Lyngh Bjerregaard. Hi Louise.
Hi Alicia, how are you?
Good, great to talk.
Great to talk with you as well.
So I'm gonna go straight into the questions because there's some questions into the questions, so I don't want to run out of time. My first one is regarding your creative process. I would like to know, how does it work? Where do you start from when creating a collection? And specifically, what is the inspiration behind the collection that you will be presenting?
So that's two really good questions. First of all, jumping straight to it, when creating a collection, I start off basically by trying to touch base with myself with what I want to express through my garments. And then, because I've been collecting materials for a long time and I've been working collecting materials for other designers, I'm quite trained in this field. So I go directly into selecting the fabrics of with this pandemic of what we already had in the atelier. And then from there, like having sort of like an outline of certain fabrics, I engage my atelier team in discussions around shape and textures, what can go with what technique. And then from there, it's basically, I mean, it's a little bit of a longer process than what I say right now. But then from there, we go on to exploring techniques and create swatches. And if we have to dye something, we go on to testing this. And then actually we're quite fast in creating 3D garments, as I like to create straight on the body in with a 3D outcome already. And I guess for the inspiration behind this collection was kind of like, this is my first collection and who knows how many you get to create. So I really just gave it everything I had. I wanted to kind of explore my narrative a little bit more and not be so focused on knitwear, because I feel like at this point I'm strong already in the knitwear, and I wanted to explore a little bit of my tailoring background and bring that to the scene as well. So I guess you can say that the core inspiration have been to just really give it everything you have and just not take the opportunity for granted. I think being a young designer, you never know if you have, the capability financially to do a second collection. So I think this collection really represents what I have in store right now.
Yeah, that's wonderful, and it really comes across. There's so much diversity. It's a really exciting collection. Um, My second question is about the overall scenario in the industry, but also with an eye on how that's affected you. So, finally, following the past year or so, a bit more, it seems that we're returning to some sort of apparent normality, with travel resuming and the possibility to have in-person shows. So, in your opinion, how, as a whole, the industry has shaped past this year, and how does it feel to be able to present to a live audience? And then also on a more personal level, what have been the main challenges and takeaways from this year?
I think personally, for me as a young designer, I feel like related to the industry, I feel like this dust still needs to settle a little bit before I can grasp the magnitude of this pandemic and what it has, how it has affected me and how we're moving forward as an atelier team. I think what has been a really good takeaway from this is that I've explored, I'm sure you have as well, that a lot of people, also non-industry related people, have actually gained some experience in trying to knit themselves and trying to play around with textiles. And I think this is a really important topic to talk about, actually, because suddenly you have a lot of people out there in the world who have some kind of knowledge of and respect to what goes into creating garments yourself, and how techniques are being refined and how long time that also takes. So I think hopefully the industry will have some kind of a new a view on the time and efforts that go into creating garments of a certain quality and at a certain level as well. So I think that's a really good takeaway.
Mhm.
Your next question about how I think for us creating this collection, we had to use basically everything we had in the atelier already, like stores being closed. We couldn't buy zippers or any other hardware. So it was a matter of upcycling what we already have, like pulling out zippers and other types of closures from other previous garments, as you know. And then and then really just utilizing what we have, and this was a really fun, it was a challenging task as well, but a really fun one. And I think despite there was a pandemic, we were able to go to work every day and dive into all these techniques and building this collection. So for us it was really positive, the slower pace the industry faced at that point. I think showing for the first time, it's a big thing for me. I'm a very private person in general, so showing for the first time, I've not yet shown digitally. So for me, it's been a natural to have to present in person, and I think it's really interesting. It's a format that I've been waiting to explore. So hopefully, it's going to be good and fun.
It will be. It's very exciting. Um, And the last question is about sustainable practices that are very important in your process. And as we hinted, you even rework existing samples. So sometimes you create something amazing, but then you bring it and give it a new life. So it doesn't exist anymore yet, as it transforms into another garment, which is beautiful and sad for a fashion editor like me. But about your sustainable practices, I wanted to just dig into how you join traditional technique with low-tech ones to create contemporary shapes. Your shapes are so modern, and even in the collection, also there you have, I would say, avant-garde pieces. And I would also like to know if you have a preferred craft method.
So in general, I really love textiles, and I love exploring techniques. So as you say, I use a lot of traditional techniques. My background is very traditional, and I think I'm not so much for high tech. So we do everything ourselves basically, and I think how I'm able to transform it is that I'm constantly trying to disrupt tradition in a way. So if you have a traditional way of working in a certain material, I'm constantly trying to challenge myself to see if there's other ways we can work around that technique or that fabric. And I think for me as a designer, it's super important to, in a way, to move forward with continue to disrupt the traditional way of fashion, but also the craft that goes. So I don't really have a favorite crafting method because I really love them all. But I must say I really love the challenge of disrupting these and then inventing kind of a new language for myself with materials and the method that goes into creating the materials.
Wonderful. Well, that was my last question. And thanks so much for chatting.
Thank you so much for having me, and hopefully see you soon.